Ashley, should I take a suspension? Seems that your side is now ready for you.
Mr. Speaker, as you are no doubt well aware yourself, we're always ready. Mr. Speaker, the privilege is mine, and it is indeed a great privilege for me to be able this evening to rise on behalf of this People's Progressive Party civic government, headed, of course, by His Excellency the President, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, and comprising, amongst others, the Cabinet, the government members of Parliament gathered here in this Honorable House, and so many others, in whose hands and in whose care the task of formulating and implementing and executing government policy over the course of the next 5 years has been vested. I listened keenly, Mr. Speaker, to the entirety of the debate on this year's budget, as I always do every year. But of course, this year had a number of special characteristics that resulted in me being reinforced in my view about the importance of the debate in this year in particular. First, of course, is the fact that 2026 is the first year in this government's current term of office. And therefore, almost by definition, Budget 2026 was going to be an extremely important budget because it was going to define the path that we will traverse over the course of the next 5 years and set out our government's agenda for this current term of office. But it was also going to be an important budget debate because it is being considered, or it was going to be considered as it has been considered, in a parliament of a considerably different configuration from any that we have seen perhaps in the entire political history of this country. I started the budget speech, Mr. Speaker, by setting out this political context and by making the point that we hold the largest parliamentary majority that has been won by any political party over the course of the last 2 decades. And we won that majority, we secured that majority with the largest number of absolute votes and the largest or widest margin in the popular vote in the history of democratic Guyana. There was, however, Mr. Speaker, a third dimension or aspect to the political configuration that is perhaps worthy of highlight. And I'm reminded of its importance having heard and listened, and indeed having paid keen attention to the presentation just made by the leader of the opposition. Because this parliament bears a characteristic that has, I believe, perhaps never hitherto been seen before. And I believe it was the Honorable Vice President who said it, and I will repeat it, and that is that this 13th Parliament, apart from the fact that the People's Progressive Party civic government has the largest majority that we've had in 2 decades, we are in this Parliament with that majority, with the most fragmented and the weakest opposition in living memory. Because for the first time in decades, the opposition benches are almost evenly split. We can split hairs about whether it's 16 or 12, but they're essentially evenly split. There's no party with any dominant presence in the opposition benches. And so they are fragmented, and they are weaker than any opposition that we have seen in living memory. And if we needed this point to be demonstrated or to be reiterated to us, one had simply to pay attention to the past week of this budget debate. And I will, over the course of my presentation today, elaborate why this is indeed the inescapable conclusion from the last week's deliberations. Let me start, first of all, Mr. Speaker, by saying how incredibly proud I was to be sitting on this side of the House amongst these People's Progressive Party civic members of Parliament. And I consider it a personal privilege and honor to be a member of this People's Progressive Party civic team. Mr. Speaker, over the past week, we saw towering political giants, and at the risk of perhaps disappointing some who might expect me to identify their names, and we have many towering political giants on our side, some with more longevity than others, but we witnessed over the past week towering political giants like the inimitable Honorable Gail Teixeira, who has sat continuously in this House since 1992 with distinction, and who has served the people of Guyana for decades before that, and has served her party for decades before that. I'm coming to that in a minute. We saw the nation and the world were treated to political giants of the measure and caliber of a Gail Teixeira. We saw some who were newer to politics, but are giants nonetheless, and have served this country with distinction. And Honorable Prime Minister, permit me, sir, notwithstanding that I am not in the chair today, permit me, sir, to say to you that were I in the chair, but Mr. Speaker, I would never dare to usurp your authority. The Honorable Prime Minister deserves to take a bow. I'm not inviting you to take a bow, sir, because I don't have the authority to do so. But we have in this...
You now have.
Thank you very much, sir. We have in this People's Progressive Party, and as leader of government business, the Honorable Prime Minister, who has distinguished himself in service to Guyana for decades. A highly decorated military general. A highly decorated military general respected by all around the world, and certainly and especially in this hemisphere. Never previously in politics, but in public service for all of his life, deciding and voluntarily choosing to associate himself with the political cause that is the People's Progressive Party. And Mr. Speaker, we saw some who did not spend their entire lives in the People's Progressive Party. We saw some on this side of the House who indeed are completely new to the People's Progressive Party, including colleagues, Mr. Speaker, who started their political life elsewhere. And they know the belly of the beast on the other side from the inside. And knowing the belly of the beast on the other side from the inside, they chose voluntarily and willingly to associate themselves with the People's Progressive Party. And they acquitted themselves at this podium in a manner that made me proud to be Guyanese and made me proud to be PPP. Again, at the risk, Mr. Speaker, again at the risk of offending some, once you start calling some names, you will omit others. But we heard from a James Bond. We heard from a Tandai McAllister. They were not born in the People's Progressive Party, sir. They didn't start their political lives in the People's Progressive Party. They know the other side very well.
And they run.
And when, at the first available opportunity, some will say that they ran, at the first available opportunity, they stood up and they said, in a very intelligent and well-informed way. And I might even say, Honorable Charles Ramsden, that I disagree. Perhaps I don't think they ran. I think they weighed the alternative, because these are smart people. And this was not an impulsive or emotional move. They analyzed the alternatives before them. They could have been over there, or they could have been over here, and many of them gave sweat and perhaps even blood for the PNC. And when the PNC had an opportunity to give them a role to play, the PNC turned its back on them. And having weighed the alternatives, Mr. Speaker, and having carefully considered the matter, they decided voluntarily to associate with the People's Progressive Party. And they too deserve to take a bow. And then, Mr. Speaker, there were others who also didn't spend their entire life in politics. They are well-established professionals in their respective fields. But they came with incomparable political pedigree that none of my colleagues on the other side of the House could even possibly begin to imagine. But having been born in politics in the People's Progressive Party, and having spent their entire life as a professional, distinguishing themselves in their particular field, in the case of the example that I have in mind, chose eventually to leave the comfort of professional life and get involved in frontline politics. And allow me here, Mr. Speaker, to acknowledge my colleague, the Honourable Member, Minister Vanessa Ben. Born as the daughter of Chetty Jagan's Deputy Premier, spent her entire life as a professional and distinguished herself as a professional and could be working anywhere in the world. And again, as a professional with the qualifications and track record to be working anywhere in the world, looked around and said, having spent my entire life outside of politics, well, she's still a young person, so I could hardly say my entire life, but having spent all of my life hitherto outside of politics, it is now time for me to associate myself with my father's party because of what I see transpiring in the political space in Guyana. And of course, there were many, many other bright sparks, brand new MPs who spoke for the first time. Regional MPs spoke with passion and energy. Who could forget a Suresh Singh or a Zamal Hussain speaking with passion and energy about what the People's Progressive Party is doing for people in their community, in their respective communities. Mr. Speaker, this is the People's Progressive Party civic. We heard from Minister Hodej Walron this afternoon. Again, not born in politics, certainly not born in the politics of the People's Progressive Party, but made a conscious decision. Today holds one of the most important cabinet portfolios in our government and is discharging her responsibilities with distinction. And we saw that distinction on display earlier today. And I could go on. But I won't on this occasion, Mr. Speaker. But what we saw over the course of the past week was a full and rich. I turned and my eyes fell on young Minister Sarah Brown and MP Sonia Lakshman, young indigenous Amerindian women coming to this podium, and I don't believe there's anybody in Guyana whose heart was not filled with pride when they heard Honorable Sarah Brown and Honorable Sonia Lakshman speak at this podium. You could not help but be proud to be PPP. And I was proud to be PPP when I heard these MPs speak. And so, Mr. Speaker, we received the benefit of an abundant display over the past 5 days of why the People's Progressive Party remains Guyana's only truly national multi-ethnic party.
Evergreen.
And I say to all Guyanese, there is a home for you in the People's Progressive Party, including those on that side of the House,
And that side. What? That is your crime?
including those on both sides of the House, some of whom I know will eventually end up on this side. Well, I can't necessarily, it's not my place to say that they will end up on this side of the House, but some of whom I know inevitably will end up with the People's Progressive Party. And moreover, sir, as I saw our young MPs, as I saw our young members of parliament distinguish themselves, I was reiterated in my, I'm coming to that in a minute. I was reinforced in my view that the future of the People's Progressive Party and therefore the future of Guyana are in good hands and are alive and well. Mr. Speaker, in contrast, sir, we have on the other side of the House two well, theoretically three parties, all of which really came from the same source. They really are, I think it was Honorable Gail Teixeira who said it. They're all the same. They're all really PNC. And I'm not going to repeat the scatteration joke. I think it has taken the internet by sufficient storm for me not to dare to try to replicate what I did when I presented the budget speech. But they all came from the PNC. Like I said, some over there. And the Honorable Amanda Walton Desir is PNC. The several WIN MPs are PNC. And those who are not PNC, as Honorable Priya Manichan said, it's some rejects, some derelicts from the PNC, and the rest of them, I believe the word she used was they're all disaffected people. The rest are all there because they have some grouse or the other. They have a grouse, they have an act. You don't enter politics. You don't enter politics to grind some historic acts or some personal cause.
Or to escape sanction.
Well, I'm coming to that too.
You got a lot of things to come to.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to go through all of the speeches made by all of the MPs. I believe that those who spoke after them have already abundantly and adequately responded to the various and rebutted and rejected and corrected where needed the points that were made by all of the MPs on the opposite side during the course of this debate. In the interest of time, sir, I will focus on two particular presentations. One that came from a new backbencher. One that was made, a presentation that was made by a new backbencher who leads the 12-member
He's a backbencher.
who leads the 12-member APNU contingent,
From the backbench.
which incidentally, sir, is the smallest PNC contingent. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to make sure that I was correct. I even took the years during the dictatorship. Mr. Speaker, in the 1966 Parliament, the PNC had, in the first Parliament, we are of course in the 13th Parliament. In Guyana's first Parliament, the PNC had 22 seats. In its second Parliament, the PNC had 30 seats. In the third Parliament, and of course, like I said, I'm saying they had, I'm not saying they won. They occupied. In the third Parliament, they occupied 37 seats. Mr. Speaker, by 1981, the fourth Parliament, they occupied a whopping 53 seats. And they increased their presence in the Parliament. In the fifth Parliament, the 1985-86 Parliament,
That's the one.
Mr. Speaker, the PNC occupied, legitimately or otherwise, 54 seats. In the sixth Parliament, they occupied 26 seats. In the seventh Parliament, 25. Well, of course, we are now in the post-1992 era. In 1992, they occupied 26 seats. In the seventh Parliament, they occupied 25 seats. In the eighth Parliament, this is the 2001 Parliament, occupied 27 seats. In the ninth Parliament, they occupied 22 seats. In the 10th Parliament, by then they had changed their name to APNU, or APNU AFC, I'm not sure. There's a lot of debate about putting peoples first. The word people has been at the beginning of the People's Progressive Party since time immemorial. We didn't discard the name, starting with people, People's National Congress in their case, to hide under the disguise of another name. But that's a discussion for another day. By the 10th Parliament, they held 26 seats. In the 11th Parliament, they held 33 seats. This is the minority. Well, of course, I should have said in the 10th Parliament, they held 26 seats, but together with AFC, 26 plus 7 is 33. That's when they had the ones, what we have described as the one-seat majority. But in the 11th Parliament, they held 33 seats. In the 12th Parliament, which of course is the parliament that was just concluded, where we were returned to office, they held 31 seats. And in the 13th Parliament, they hold 12 seats.
Unlucky number 13, what?
Mr. Speaker,
Friday the 13th.
Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the evidently questionable results during the 1964 to 1990 period, I think it is fair to say that this last election, the people of Guyana delivered a very clear message to the PNC. And it is under these circumstances that the Honorable Terence Campbell was catapulted to lead this band of merry men and women of 12 backbenchers.
12 disciples.
And I want to say this, Mr. Speaker. I want to say, because I try to be a respectful person most of the time, and I believe I succeed most of the time. Not necessarily always. But I try to be a respectful person most of the time. I have had the honor to have served in parliaments where I sat opposite Robert Corbyn. I didn't have the privilege of sitting in a parliament opposite Desmond Hoyt. When I came into the parliament, the leader of the opposition was Robert Corbyn. So I served in a parliament where the PNC was led by Robert Corbyn. I served in the parliament where the PNC was led by David Granger. I served in the parliament where the PNC was led by Joe Harman. I served in the parliament when the PNC was led by Aubrey Norton. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, that I have never, in any of those previous instances, witnessed anything like I witnessed over the last 5 days. Because if the PNC had not already hit a low point by securing only 12 seats, they certainly had hit a low point by the performance of the Member of Parliament leading them in this House. Mr. Speaker, no PNC MP. Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you this, because like I said, I too wasn't born in politics. I have good relationships with a lot of people in the PNC. I have good relationships with everybody in Ghana. I have never witnessed a more vile, personalized behavior, a more vulgar, vicious, vitriolic behavior by anybody who led the PNC in this parliament, like I witnessed displayed by the Honorable Terence Campbell. And Mr. Speaker, he has this interesting way. I don't think it is a secret that there is a historic family association, because he mentions it every time he launches a personalized attack against me. I think he mentioned it in Parliament the other day. I think he said, he and my father are friends. Well, and it's not the first time he has said it. He keeps repeating it. Every time he launches a personalized attack against me, he keeps saying it. And it reminds me, sir, of that famous old analogy of the Nazi who would always say, but I'm not really a Nazi because I have a Jewish friend. Or of the Indo-Guyanese man who is rabid and racist, but who would always say, me, I couldn't possibly be a racist because I have an Indo-Guyanese friend. Or my best friends are Indo-Guyanese. Or vice versa, the Afro-Guyanese person who is rabidly racist and says, me, I could never be racist. I have an Indo-Guyanese friend. Why could you possibly describe me as a racist? The Honorable Terence Campbell, repeatedly, I have never in my political life been subject, and I'm not only speaking about myself, I have never been subject to, and I have never witnessed such vile, personalized attacks on people in politics. Never in my life. Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to speak, because I've been in politics for a while, so I could handle anything. I'm coming to you, Honorable Priya Manichan. I'm coming to you, Honorable Minister Manichan. This honorable member, Mr. Speaker, notoriously made a post on Facebook body shaming a female minister. Well, I'll tell you what, the wave of reprimands that was unleashed on him made him delete the post, including by people who are connected to him. And I'm not going to name them.
Some of them sitting in the
I'm not going to name them out of respect for them.
Ganesh,
Including by people connected to him who said to him, shame on you.
come on, Ganesh, Chief Whip.
And he was forced to delete. He was forced to delete the post. But Mr. Speaker, you can't change the innate characteristics of a person. So, having already been publicly shamed because of his behavior towards women in politics, the honorable member comes to this house. When did he speak? Yesterday? Yesterday. And he's speaking about projects. I think somebody mentioned something about a project that had a design flaw. I think the Honorable Priya Manichan. And I had to listen to this because I was like almost in disbelief. I had to listen to this thing, and I'm inviting the public to play this video back. There are certain lines, Mr. Speaker, that you don't cross. None of us is perfect, but there are certain lines you don't. And I know, I haven't discussed this matter with the Honorable Minister Manichan, but I know she heard what he said. No. I'll tell you what, though. It reflects an attitude.
And a mindset.
And a mindset. And for those in this house who did not catch what he said, he thinks that he got away with it. I know a lot of people didn't catch it. I'm going to tell you what he said. So the Honorable Priya Manichan spoke about the design flaw. She was speaking about Hags Bosch, and she was speaking about the road along Hags Bosch, and she gave her explanation. The Honorable Terence Campbell comes to this house at the microphone as the leader of Forbes Burnham's party. As the leader of Forbes, he dressing up like he go look like Forbes Burnham. And somebody say he wear the Burnham suit on Monday or Tuesday. I don't pay attention to them things. But coming to this parliament, taking the podium, leader of Burnham's party. And this is what he said. There have been so many design flaws in this country, and he starts to list examples. He said there was a design flaw with Skeldon. There was a design flaw with Amila. He gave a couple other examples. He said there's a design flaw on the Barajagdeo Bridge. The trucks are rolling back. And then he says, there's a design flaw with everything, including Priya Manichan. Put that phrase in quotation marks and watch the video back. Watch the video back. There's a design flaw with everything. There's a design flaw with everything, including Priya Manichan. End of quote.
And they laugh over there.
And they laughed uproariously.
Joke. It was a
It was a joke.
It was a joke from Ganesh.
A woman member of parliament, a woman minister,
And Ganesh laughed.
Ganesh?
Laugh now.
leader of Forbes, but no amount of dressing up in Barnum suit will take you out of the gutter. No amount of dressing up. And no amount of shouting and raising your voice in this house to give yourself fake gravitas will lift you out of the gutter.
It's a mindset.
Mr. Speaker,
Standpipish behavior.
Mr. Speaker, there was much ado. Somebody posted, so I presented this budget under the theme, putting people first. Well, we have always put people first. So,
Who else you put?
we have always put people first.
Who else you put first?
We have always put people first. Well, somebody apparently made the point that APNU, I think, had this as their manifesto theme. And they posted a big picture of the budget speech cover and myself. And they put the big word, it's a non-parliamentary word, sir, so I will say it but not say it. They put a big word marked thief with Ashni Singh's photograph and a picture of the theme. And a big word called thief. I can't remember, I don't want to, it's a member of parliament on their side who made that post. And the Honorable Terence Campbell, friend of my father as he claims to be, gleefully, friend of my father as he claims to be, shares this post with a big word thief and Ashni Singh picture under it. But guess what? So he's accusing me of being a thief, because apparently a thief, the theme, putting people first, which incidentally they thief from Bill Clinton. But we'll put that aside for a moment. But guess what? A couple days later, he was driving in a brand new, I think, Toyota Land Cruiser, one of those big vehicles. And very pleased with himself that he had bought this, very pleased that he had bought himself this Toyota Land Cruiser, and apparently this time paid the taxes. And obviously paying taxes was a very unfamiliar sensation to him, because he was very elated and excited to post that he had paid X amount in duties and taxes, being unfamiliar with paying taxes apparently. So he posts that I've paid the taxes on this vehicle. Well, they got a lot of Guyanese people paying taxes on vehicles and then jumping on Facebook and posting it. But guess what? The honorable member captions his post in big, bold, all caps. 3 words. Unbought, unbossed, and unbothered. You remember the post? Well, Mr. Speaker, you would think that Mr. Originality, you know, like they got Miss Congeniality? You know, like how you got Miss Congeniality? You would think that Mr. Originality, who accused me of thieving the PNC theme, would have been a little bit cautious not to thief Prime Minister Mia Mottley's slogan off of her Facebook page, where for the longest while she has had the phrase unbought and unbossed. And the Prime Minister of Barbados has never made it a secret where she got that theme from. It is Shirley Chisholm's autobiography, because Shirley Chisholm wrote in 1970 a famous autobiography called Unbought and Unbossed. And Shirley Chisholm, incidentally, is a distinguished Caribbean American. whose parentage originates half from Guyana and half from Barbados. Shirley Chisholm, daughter of a Guyanese and a Barbadian parent and a distinguished Afro-American or African-American. The Honorable David Hines would be very familiar with her work. In 1970, authored her autobiography titled On Bought and Unbossed. And of course, Prime Minister Motley is quite rightly very proud of Shirley Chisholm as a Barbadian, a person who identifies as a Barbadian American. So she's adopted the slogan for the longest while, Mr. Originality. Mr. Originality, so excited and elated he was by the novelty of paying taxes. I ain't going to use the word thief, that unparliamentary word. I will look at it. And you know, I suffer my moments of pettiness too. I wanted to share it too and put thief. But I said to myself, I'm going to save it for this Friday.
In the spirit of PNC.
I'm going to save it for this Friday. I said that already. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention.
Mr. Speaker, standing order. The honourable member is not supposed to heckle. He's not in his seat. He has to sit in his seat.
Oh yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Unbothered from Granger.
Oh yes, I forgot that. I forgot that the time when Mr. Granger leaned on the podium
Unbothered.
and said he's unbothered.
Pegasus.
It was at the Pegasus. And so, Mr. Speaker, but those are but examples of the depths to which Burnham's party has gone, has sunk under the stewardship of the Honorable. No, Burnham's party is not bothering me. Those are the depths to which the People's National Congress has sunk.
We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, Ashley.
And Mr. Speaker, throughout the week we were regaled by all sorts of spurious statements. All throughout the week we were regaled by spurious comments and absurdities. Here who speaks about illegality? Here who speaks about illegality? Here, Mr. Speaker, I don't really know the facts on this matter. But I am told that there's a certain chain of fast food restaurants that for years was selling fried chicken and fries, and I believe maybe even some bit of ice cream here and there, charging the poor people of Guyana value-added tax and collecting the value-added tax from the poor people of Guyana that he now professes to love. Charging the poor people of Guyana value-added tax. They now profess to love these people. Collecting this tax, making a profit off of these people. And collecting the VAT and not paying over the VAT to the GRA. And when the time comes to pay over the VAT to the GRA, writes the GRA and says, please write off this VAT and these taxes that I owe you.
Mr. Speaker, I stand on 48, sir. Mr. Speaker, I have never...
You forget the great bishop argument? Sit down!
I am speaking.
Sit down!
I am speaking.
Sit down!
Mr. Speaker, I have never had a write-off of VAT or any tax in Guyana. Never had a write-off of VAT or any tax in Guyana, sir. And I challenge the finance minister
Honourable
to
member, you
prove it.
stand on what standing order?
48. And 41.6 included. I have never had a write-off of tax in Guyana. Never. Not once. Never once. I have never asked for a write-off of taxes in this country. And The Honorable Zulfikar Ali is not here, but he can confirm if he were here that I've never had a write-off of tax or a VAT in this country. Never, not once. And so I challenge the Finance Minister to withdraw that remark or produce the evidence of a write-off of primary tax in this country. Any tax.
Mr. Speaker, once again, sir, it's called hoodwinking. It's called hoodwinking by obfuscation. Because, Mr. Speaker, I see the Honourable Member is not resuming his seat. I'll wait for him to resume his seat before I respond. Mr. Speaker, it's called hoodwinking by obfuscation, or what you might call splitting hairs. Because every other person in this country, when they don't pay their taxes, they're subject to something called penalties and interest. And having failed to pay over his taxes in a timely manner, he accumulated a vast amount of penalties and interest. I want him to stand up and say that he's never asked for a write-off of penalties and interest.
Stand up!
Stand and say that. Mr. Speaker, there's an old saying, who the cap fit, wear it.
That's called a red herring.
Continue, Senior.
There's an old saying, I didn't name anybody, who the cap fit, wear it.
Mr. Speaker, I want to repeat that I never asked for a write-off of any tax. The Honourable Minister is correct that I asked for a partial write-off of penalties and interest, a partial write-off of penalties and interest after having paid over $100 million in penalties and interest. And the Honourable Minister would know that
Honourable Member, thank you. Senior Minister, continue.
Mr. Speaker, as
Sowing and reaping.
Mr. Speaker,
You can get it too. I sat here all week and listened to you. As nasty as you got to sat here. What you did?
Mr. Speaker, to invoke those famous words, and further, I need say not. Mr. Speaker, that kind of duplicity characterized the honourable member's entire presentation and all of his interventions throughout this week. On every matter. On every matter. And I could go on through a long list of issues. Whether it be the question of consultations on the budget. Mr. Speaker, the People's Progressive Party, no People's Progressive Party civic government engages in a single symbolic consultation on the budget a few days before. I said that to all of the members of the private sector, and I've always said it to members of the private sector on every occasion that I've met them in close proximity to the budget. We consulted the private sector extensively in the preparation of our manifesto. We are the only political party to have done so. We received extensive submissions. We are engaged with the private sector literally every week, if not every day. Whether it be at the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Local Government, the Ministry of Tourism. I meet with members of the private sector on one private sector body or another. And so, Mr. Speaker, this People's Progressive Party civic government's policies are informed by stakeholder input, not by a single token engagement a few days before the budget, but by an ongoing, deep and profound engagement with the private sector so that we can understand what their priorities are, what their interests are, what they would like us to do more of, what they would like us to do differently. And Mr. Speaker, if the honourable member was not content to insult those on the opposite side of this House, the honourable member went on to describe the leaders of Guyana's private sector and stakeholder community as politically captured, and he repeats it, and he repeats it with great pride. He repeats it with great pride. The Private Sector Commission, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, the Guyana Manufacturers Association, regional chambers of commerce, the Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Miners Association. Mr. Speaker, he describes all of these people as politically captured, not content with hurling vile insults to those of us on this side of the House. He proceeds, sir, to hurl insults everywhere else too. Well, I'll tell you what. It is because of that mindset, sir, through you, Mr. Speaker, that you are now sitting on that side of the House, leading the smallest group of PNC MPs in the history of Guyana. The honourable member says he's going to be coming on this side of the House. Well,
He will last his term.
sir, Mr. Speaker,
You will resign. You will last your term in opposition.
Mr. Speaker,
Keep belly for this fight.
Mr. Speaker,
I don't allow you. I ain't got belly like you. No, yeah, you don't have a mindset for this. You're an opportunist that is not prepared to serve people. You go on every single Sunday to preach. So good news, and you should come and listen. And you should come and listen. So change your mindset.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member says that he is waiting.
Preaching will change.
The honourable member says that he is waiting to come on this side of the House. Well, I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, and it's no secret, that I maintain an open channel of communication with people all over the political divide. I speak with people in every political party. I maintain an open channel of communication. So I will confess, sir, that I had an engagement with a very senior member of the People's National Congress of pedigree, who has been in the PNC for a very long time, not one who, when he was catapulted to the leadership, had to hide and bob and weave about whether he's a PNC member or when he become a PNC member. And we all recall the drama over whether he's a PNC member at all, and if so, when he became a PNC member. I spoke, Mr. Speaker, with a prominent member of the PNC, and I said, man, what's going on over there? Where I'll find this chap from? And Mr. Speaker, that senior member of the People's National Congress gave me a very interesting response. He said in cricket, to give you a cricketing analogy, they got something named a night watchman. Now, I'm not a cricketer. The cricketer here is Charles Ramsey or Stephen Jacobs, in fact.
I'm not watchman.
Right? But the senior member of the PNC said to me, they said, I know you don't play cricket, but you just watch cricket. You ever hear about a night watchman? Stephen Jacobs and Charles Ramsey will explain to you, the Honorable Stephen Jacobs and the Honorable Charles Ramsey will explain to you what is a night watchman. But I'll tell you what. But I'll tell you what.
Ashley, this man trying to get the top
You know about baseball? You know about cricket? You know about cricket? You know about baseball? Because I have a baseball analogy for you too. All right, you're Guyanese. You spend a lot of time in the United States of America, though. But anyhow, that's beside the point. Mr. Speaker, the senior member of the PNC who spoke with me said to me, there's a man y'all used to call Norton Little Leaguer. So I said, yes, yeah, we used to call it Little League, but this chap take the cake. He said to me, now Pee Wee, he taught me a word that I had to Google. He said, you might not be familiar. He said, I know a little baseball because I live in America before, or I have family who live in America. He said, you ever hear the phrase T-baller? I said, how you spell that? He said, you could spell it either T-baller or T-E-E baller. And I invite the public and I invite members of this honorable house to Google T-baller. I had to Google it. I had to Google T-baller. Honorable Schumann, you have young kids who play baseball. You know what's a T-baller. The person said to me, in cricket we call a night watchman, but in baseball a more suitable name, a more suitable description for the Honorable Terence Campbell is T-baller. T-baller. They say, you know, you should call it T-ball Terence or T-baller Terence. Well, out of respect, I wouldn't do that, sir. Maybe not in this honorable house, maybe outside. But Google T-baller. I had to Google it to discover what is T-ball and T-baller. So, Mr. Speaker, for all of his bombast, over the past week, sir, for all of his bluster and bombast, Mr. Speaker, even within the PNC, Mr. Terence Campbell, the honourable member, is not taken seriously, sir. He's not taken seriously. He holding the fort like a night watchman until time comes for a real leader to take over back. I see Mahipal angling there. I don't know if it can be Mahipal. And Mr. Speaker, it is most unfortunate. It is most unfortunate. And it is most unfortunate, sir, because look where we are. Look where we are.
You know, nothing substantive. Depletion of the NRF. Reporting accurately. I laid before the House.
Man, this chap is something.
You're really trying to talk on a Friday, boy.
You are a
You're really trying to talk on a Friday.
You cannot address the matters of substance.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. First of all, Mr. Speaker, I don't allow myself to be lectured by T-ballers.
Listen to me. I am lecturing you about boxing.
I don't allow myself to be lectured by T-ballers. I don't allow myself to be lectured by T-ballers, sir. Mr. Speaker, I don't need Mr. Terence Campbell's endorsement or validation. Nobody on this side of the house don't need your validation. Nobody on this side of the house don't need your validation. Let me tell you something, Mr. Speaker, through you, sir. Nobody on this side of the house needs validation from the likes of Terence Campbell.
Honorable member, please allow the minister to continue.
Mr. Speaker, the behavior is on display for all to see. The behavior is on display for all to see.
Because I'm a fighter. And the people know I will fight for them.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy for the honourable member to continue. Mr. Speaker, a simple matter over the course of the last week, well, maybe 2 weeks. A simple matter, sir. Mr. Campbell wants to run a country. Mr. Speaker, over the course of the last 2 weeks, Mr. Campbell, the honourable member, and the APNU MPs that he leads, and Win, could not agree, sir, on the matter of allocation of portfolios in a shadow cabinet. That is the big and bad. That's with all the bluster and bombast Mr. Campbell could not secure more than 2 shadow cabinet seats in his negotiations with a political entity that is less than 1 year old. With all of his bluster and bombast and bullyism.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell.
the Honorable Minister of Finance is wrong about not being able to secure more than 2 seats. In fact, the first offer was for 5 seats. So he's repeating stuff that is incorrect, sir.
Honorable Minister, I will uphold that point of order.
And Mr. Speaker, I will not. Mr. Speaker, I of course was not privy to what was transpiring between them. But what I do know is, I do have an article here dated February 1, 2026, where this article is headlined, APNU win yet to reach agreement on budget debate arrangements. Stabrook News, 21st of January. APNU says win failed to engage meaningfully in talks on united opposition. So, Mr. Speaker, whether it is 5 or 2 or whatever it is, what I do know is that for all his bluster and bombast, the Honorable successor to Aubrey Norton was granted the mammoth 15 plus 5 minutes to speak in this budget debate because he was unable to reach agreement with Win.
On a Thursday. On a Thursday.
Mr. Speaker, incapable. These are the people who want to present themselves as an alternative government. Incapable of working together as an opposition on something as inconsequential. It's not like this thing gonna be cast in stone forever till thy kingdom come.
It's shallows.
On the simple matter of allocating portfolios for the purposes of the budget debate. And Mr. Speaker, they rather give up all than accept the 2 or the 5 that they were offered. They rather sit down because you are the weakest presence of the PNC in the history of Forbes Burnham's party. You could not even extract significant portfolio representation. Well, Mr. Speaker, what I know, sir, is that they sat down meekly and trotted out one after the other on with their little 15-minute allocations, or like the backbenchers that he is. Like the backbencher that he is. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member, Mr. Terence Campbell, the Honourable Member, sir, has no claim to credibility. Mr. Speaker, when this gentleman was nominated to lead APNU in the Parliament, he was asked, are you a PNC member? Mr. Speaker, on the 15th of November in the Demerara Waves, the headline is, APNU's parliamentary leader secretive about PNCR membership, plays down party leadership prospects. You talking about who hang your head? Mr. Speaker, I am as happy to be a follower as I am to be a leader. I am as happy to be a follower. You have never followed. You have never served as a regular MP. James Bond and Tandai McAllister serve in the PNC, and they're not sitting where you are sitting. You never sat as an ordinary MP. You are catapulted into the leadership. Well, Mr. Speaker, for the record, I am equally happy to be a follower as I am to be a leader. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. And he who is not willing to be a foot soldier is not entitled to be a general. He doesn't want to be a foot soldier. He starts with Anug. We don't get to Anug. When he couldn't establish, here laugh here, Mr. Speaker, when he couldn't establish that he's a PNC member, here what he said. My blood was always green. I went to Bishop's High School. I have the story here. My blood was always green. I went to Bishop. Never mind, sir. Never mind, sir. That on the 19th of July 2025, never mind, sir, that on the 19th of July 2025, the Honorable Terence Campbell said in Culture News, I was never part of any political party. New candidate Terence Campbell. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Campbell is on public record as being a founder member of ANUG. Stabrook News, January 8, 2019. Businessman Campbell walks
Mr.
away
Speaker.
from ANUG.
Mr. Speaker,
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
I was involved in the initial discussions to form ANUG, but before the launch of that party, I had departed. There is not, a resignation was not even necessary. Before the launch of ANUG, I announced that I was no longer in any discussions with that political party. So I was never a member, never signed up, never paid any fees, anything, never filled out a form. So I asked the Honorable Minister to withdraw that, sir.
Honorable Minister, we heard from the MP, he was never associated with that statement. I'll uphold a point of order. Thank you.
And of course, you know, Mr. Speaker, I will defer to your ruling. I will simply cite a Stabrook News headline dated January 8, 2019, where the story is headlined, Businessman Campbell walks from ANUG due to polarized political climate. And the story goes on to say, local businessman Terence Campbell, lest there be any doubt who we're speaking about, has ended his brief foray into politics.
Mr. Speaker, I stand on 48 yesterday because...
Honorable MP,
yeah.
I just want to hear what is in the article and give a ruling.
But, Mr. Speaker, can you give me 1 second? Because yesterday...
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yesterday, when I raised the issue of the Bangladeshi government establishing a high commission in Guyana to explore the labor market, your ruling at that time was that we do not, I think we wouldn't follow the news or something.
I was just about,
One more thing,
Yes.
sir. Over and over again, and I have said this many times, the headline does not reflect what was said by someone. It's happened to me at least 5 times recently with several different news outlets. So I would encourage the Honorable Minister to read properly rather than just read headlines. But the point is, I'm rising on your ruling last night, sir.
yes, sir, and you're in order.
Very, very well, sir. In fact, the honourable member, I will do, sir, exactly as the honourable member has requested. The honourable member asks for me to read from the article. Mr. Speaker, the article has a quotation in inverted commas, quoting
Mr.
from a
Speaker.
press release.
Mr. Speaker,
On-
whether he reads it or not is not important.
Yeah.
And I was impacted by that last night.
yes.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister, I just want from my ear to hear the end of that, because we do have a standing order that speaks specifically to reference to news, right? And it says that we should not. And I may have to now rule absolutely on it, because people are refuting what these quotes are. And, but I still wanted to hear what's in quote, because this is something I want to also talk to the media about. You know, because in here, I laid out the principle for the media, but out there, I banned the media. Go ahead, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, so do I have your permission, sir, to
Yes.
read from the article? Very well, sir. So the article, Mr. Speaker, and again for those who want to read it in its fullness for themselves, it is the 8th of January 2019, Stabrook News, headlined, Businessman Campbell walks from Annog due to polarized political climate. And somewhere midway through the article, there's a quotation carried in inverted commas in quotation marks that reads, sir, as follows. It says, open quote, so it's a quotation from the party. It says, this is Annog, of course. It says, open quotes, it is clear that Terence has come under severe pressure because of his leading role in establishing Annog. Some of us have also come under pressure from official sources very recently as a consequence of our association with Annog. And in the past, we have endured and survived and expect to continue to do so in the future, and the quote goes on. But what I wanted to draw attention to, sir, was the quote, the release from the party, quoted in inverted commas in quotation marks in the aforementioned cited article in Stabrook News, that Mr. Campbell, according to this article, and according to the direct quotation carried in this article from Annog, that Mr. Campbell played, in quotes, a leading role in establishing Annog. Fast forward, sir.
Mr. Speaker.
Sir.
Minister, so it says a leading role. You know, there are many organizations which I played a leading role in organizing but never was a member of. So while it may sound as if he was a member, I can associate leading role with being a member of, right? Let's move on from this. Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell. Yes.
A simple Google check will show that Annog was launched on January 18, 2019. And through you, I'm asking the minister to say the date of that article.
Honorable, I am not going to continue along the line. I've ruled. I understand being involved in the formation of organizations and not being a member of it. We have accepted your position that you've never been a member of Annog, and the minister will move on.
Very well, sir. I might add, sir, I won't quote from them, but there is a vast array, vast collection of articles carried in Stabrook News, in Demerara Waves, etc., on this matter. You should have been paying attention. I said the date on several occasions. I said it on several occasions. I'm not here to compensate for your inattentiveness. You suffer from some kind of attention deficit. I'm not here to compensate for your attention deficit. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead, Ashton.
Very well.
Honourable Minister.
I'm not here, sir. I said the date of the Stabrook News article on many occasions. Mr. Speaker, it is most regrettable, sir, that the cameras are aimed at me on this occasion. I would have liked this spectacle of Mr. Campbell's behavior to be broadcast for the nation to witness.
The PPP and the graft that they're involved with. That's what the people want to see. And I will fight.
Honourable Member, Mr. Campbell, we have lectured on the use of unparliamentary language. But I checked my thesaurus just now. And the particular standing order speaks to language which the speaker may disallow. Thank you.
And so, like I said, Mr. Speaker, throughout his presentation, the nation was subjected to the same kind of duplicity, fancy footwork, splitting hairs, throughout his entire presentation in this House, Mr. Speaker, and throughout the entire week, sir. Mr. Speaker, on the subject of Guyana's macroeconomic performance, Mr. Speaker, the honourable member spoke, first of all, cited with much aplomb. He cited with much aplomb the practice in Ghana. And he brandished, sir, a document that lists the spending made in Ghana from the authorized budget funding amount, which of course is governed by Ghanaian legislation. It's called the APFA in Ghana, governed, I believe, by the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, if I'm not mistaken. A model, sir, with which I'm very familiar. Mr. Speaker, in Ghana, they comply with what is required by the Ghanaian legislation. We have in this country, we're governed in this country by laws. And we have a
Mr.
Natural
Speaker.
Resource Fund Act.
Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell.
The minister is entering into terrain that is currently before the court, sir.
Let's hear out the Honorable Minister, because the reference was made in here concerning the Ghanaian legislation. It was held up as the ideal for us. I think the point that he is trying to make is they have their rules and laws and we have ours. But I don't want to...
Mr. Speaker, yesterday when I raised it, I said the reporting on the use of the funds is a good model to follow. I did not say that, and I particularly, if you go back to the Hansard, I said I will not drift into any area that's sub judice.
Yes, you did. But if it's a good... I don't know where the minister is going with this. So if he's going to tell us, you know, what is good for the goose and good for the gander, I want to hear.
Thank you.
He's standing on the permission of the Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I too have no intentions of venturing into matters that are currently being considered by the... But this matter was raised in the Honorable House by the Honorable Member. And I don't know if he expects that, or he believes that he enjoys some monopoly on the right to raise this matter with the expectation that I will not be responding, because in that case, he is grossly mistaken. I will repeat what I was saying a minute or two ago. In Ghana, they have their own legislation, and they follow their own model, and they comply with that model. We have in Guyana a Natural Resource Fund Act, which was passed by this National Assembly in 2021, in December 2021, in that very famous sitting of this Honorable House, when, of course, there was that much publicized incident with the attempted theft of the maize. And this Parliament enacted a Natural Resource Fund Act, with which, well, first of all, which is vastly superior to what was in place previously, and with which we are in full compliance. And, Mr. Speaker, on the questions concerned, without, like I said, prosecuting or attempting to prosecute this matter this evening or in this honorable house, I will draw attention to the fact that there is a vast literature on this question of whether funds should be earmarked or not. There is a vast literature on this subject matter. And Mr. Speaker, in Guyana, for as long as that is what is in our law books, that is what we are required to comply with. If and when the law changes at some point in time in the future, this People's Progressive Party civic government will comply with the law, the extant law at the time. But, Mr. Speaker, in its infinite wisdom, this House legislated that the transfers from the NRF will be transparent, will be transferred in accordance with a simple and parsimonious formula that every single Guyanese citizen will be able to understand, and that all of those revenues will be paid into the consolidated fund, and their utilization will be in accordance with the national budgetary process. And that, Mr. Speaker, is precisely what we are doing in accordance with the laws of Guyana. And like I said, Mr. Speaker, I would urge the honourable member to acquaint himself. And as with all of these matters, the jury is out and there's a vast literature out there, but there are compelling arguments why resource revenue should not be earmarked. I draw the honourable member's attention, sir, to a publication by the OECD. The OECD in 2019, sir, published, this is just one example, published in 2019 policy guidance. It's an OECD development policy tools. It's a publication in that series. And it is titled Using Extractive Revenues for Sustainable Development, subtitled Policy Guidance for Resource-Rich Countries. Mr. Speaker, there's a whole chapter in this publication on the pitfalls of earmarking natural resource revenue. There's a whole box 2.3, from page 24 to 25, and I'm just pulling out one box. The box is titled The Pitfalls of Earmarking Natural Resource Revenue from the OECD. Now, I'm not saying this is the only view, sir. I'm not saying this is the only view, but this is a rather compelling view. And I don't present myself as a subject matter expert on anything. But I will say that this publication was authored by people who can legitimately and appropriately present themselves as subject matter experts. Mr. Speaker, the honourable member made much ado about macroeconomic performance and incurrence of debt. Mr. Speaker, it is this People's Progressive Party civic government and our predecessors that brought Guyana back from bankruptcy. I believe it was the Honourable Minister Onej Walrand who read this morning from the 1993 budget, quoted from the 1993 budget speech, when more than 100% of government revenue was being utilized to service our debts. And it is a previous People's Progressive Party civic government that has brought us back from the bankruptcy in which the PNC had placed us. Mr. Speaker, today Guyana's debt to GDP ratio is the second lowest in the Western Hemisphere, thanks to prudent fiscal management by the People's Progressive Party. When countries around the hemisphere and around the world have a debt to GDP ratio, ratios that exceed 100%, and in even more cases that exceed 60, 70, and 80%, Guyana's debt to GDP ratio at the end of 2025 was 28.6%. Like I said, the second lowest in the Western Hemisphere. Mr. Speaker, and the same applies to our debt service to revenue ratio. Mr. Speaker, in 2025, compared to the more than 100% that Minister Walron referred to in 1993, in 2025, the debt service to revenue ratio in Guyana was 5.53%. Coming from a position where we were spending more than 100% of our revenue, we are now spending 5.5% of government revenue to service our debt. And at the same time, sir, we are investing aggressively to transform our country for the long term.
Let's build Guyana.
And at the same time, sir, we are improving and expanding social services. That, Mr. Speaker, that, sir, is prudent and responsible economic management. But the honourable member doesn't want to hear that. The honourable member instead, Mr. Speaker, believes that he can continue in the tradition of distorting the facts and distorting and misrepresenting the truth to present a false and inaccurate picture to the people of Guyana. But these are different times, sir.
But Honorable Minister, you're imputing now, right?
I withdraw, sir. I'll be guided by you, sir. I withdraw. The honourable member made much ado, sir, about the performance of the non-oil. Well, he gave this absolutely astonishing. He made this point, sir, about the rate of growth. And he made the point that we were growing at 46% and we are now growing at 16%. Mr. Speaker, when you start at 1 and you grow by 1 to 2, you're growing by 100%. When you grow from 2 to 3, you're no longer growing by 100%, you're now growing by 50%. When you grow from 3 to 4, you're no longer growing by 100% or 50%. You're now growing by 33%. When you grow from 4 to 5, you're still growing, your economy is still growing by the same absolute level, but your rate of growth as you grow on a larger base, your rate of growth will decline. Mr. Speaker, that is not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It is not brain surgery. It's not even frying chicken. It's basic arithmetic. It's basic arithmetic. It's basic arithmetic. Mr. Speaker, the honourable member speaks of the non-oil economy. Sir, we know that apart from the services sector, Guyana has a very important non-oil extractive sector. We have gold, we have bauxite, we have other minerals, we have quarry stone and sand, etc. Mr. Speaker, just like, I believe it was, I don't recall who it was on their side, the honourable member cited when the gold industry was declaring 700,000 ounces during the APNU-AFC period. Mr. Speaker, that declaration was thanks to large-scale operators that the People's Progressive Party brought to Guyana. The honourable member cited AGM and Troy, that the PPP brought to Guyana, that they inherited, that were producing gold thanks to them coming to Guyana, thanks to the People's Progressive Party. And he cites that as the big example. Mr. Speaker, this matter has been ventilated on so many occasions previously. Mr. Speaker, the honourable member turns to bauxite. The honourable member turns to bauxite. Sir, when the People's Progressive Party demitted office in 2015, bauxite was being produced in the Berbice River. and more than 1,000 persons were working at the bauxite mines in Berbice. I believe it was the Honorable Minister Vanessa Ben, who spoke of the fact that people from Aichuni, Kwakwani, Linden, New Amsterdam were working in the bauxite industry in Berbice River. Mr. Speaker, the PNC, who the honourable member now represents in Parliament, is the party that sat down. Well, I don't know if he at that time was with, well, Anuk, I guess, didn't exist at that time. I don't know who he was with at that time. Mr. Speaker, the honourable member who now heads the APNU contingent in this honourable
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable member?
Mr. Speaker, standing on 40A, but really and truly, this is an honorable house. And the Honorable Anand Prasad is saying that he's leaving to go call Kanu on me, imputing to me to be a drug dealer. I don't believe that that's the standard of the house.
Honorable member, I didn't hear that, but if honorable member is going to use that language, please desist. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, and let me be crystal clear that this People's Progressive Party, civic party, and in government, whether in government or in opposition, we were in opposition at that time, we would always stand on the side of the working people of Guyana. Mr. Speaker, the PNC sat down and allowed the Berbice bauxite operations to be closed, allowed hundreds of workers, more than 1,000 workers, to be put out of work, even if there were labor issues. Instead of addressing, well, they didn't have a ministry of, did they have a ministry of labor? Did they have a ministry of labor? They didn't have a ministry of labor. Mr. Speaker, they didn't have a Ministry of Labor, so I don't know if that is what paralyzed them. But, Mr. Speaker, whether because they had shut down the Ministry of Labor or for whatever reason, they sat down and allowed those people to be put out of work. Those people were Lindeners. They came from Aichuni and Kwakwani. They came from New Amsterdam and elsewhere in the Berbice River. They were all put out of work because of the PNC, the APNU and AFC in government at the time. Mr. Speaker, this People's Progressive Party will bring back an investor to resume bauxite production in the Berbice River. And we will work, sir. We have already worked with the investor, sir, to have metallurgical grade bauxite produced in Linden. And this year, sir, in Linden, we will exceed 4 million tons of bauxite in Linden. Hundreds more Lindeners are employed today in the bauxite industry that were employed. About 500 more Lindeners are employed. That's 500 Linden families are employed in the bauxite industry than were employed in 2020 in the bauxite industry as a result of us creating an investor-friendly environment in Linden. And they wonder, Mr. Campbell wonders, sir, no amount of jack in the box, jumping up and down like a jack in the box, will compensate for the fact that he is part of a callous.
Honorable Minister, we also have, like in one of the words, phrases that we don't use. I had to caution the like a foul, remember?
Certainly, sir. I would be guided by you. I withdraw. I think whatever the case, whatever. I withdraw, sir. And I'm perfectly happy to move on. No amount of histrionics, sir, will compensate for the fact, will remove or erase or alter the fact that it is the PNC, the APNU, AFC, as they were then known, that presided over the collapse of the bauxite industry, hurting Londoners and hurting people of New Amsterdam and people of the Berbice River. No amount of history
Mr.
on
Speaker.
it will rewrite that history.
Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I'm standing on 40A. It was the Berbice, the Russell company to which you referred, who fired their own workers at, on the Berbice River and left Guyana, taking out their equipment. At no point did the government fire anyone, and he's imputing to the government at that time something that they did not cause, sir. If the Honourable Minister has evidence to the contrary, I'm challenging him to produce it now, sir.
Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell, this one is very hard for me to rule on, having been involved as Minister of Labour in that dispute, which started a little while and had many actors at that time, then inherited by Minister Gopal, and then a Department of Labor. So it's a difficult one. From where I was, there is a lot of credibility to the position taken by the Honourable Minister, because I was there, in Cabinet too.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Suffice it, sir, to say,
Honourable Minister, I was about to say, suffice it to say, I was even called racist by some actors.
well, there you go, sir. Mr. Speaker, thankfully, sir, we have the benefit of your prior experience in this matter, as we do on so many other matters where we get the benefit of your wisdom and experience. Suffice it to say, sir, that it was the APNU AFC who were in government.
Mr. Speaker, I'm standing on 40A again.
Go ahead, Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker, you have pointed out that this matter was complex and started when you were Minister of Labour, then passed on to the Honourable N.K. Gopal when I think he was Minister of Labour, and then would have passed on to whosoever succeeded him at the, in the APNU AFC. So this was a matter, the issue of poor industrial relations precede.
Okay, you're treading on grounds which you don't have first-hand knowledge. But the Honourable Minister was making a particular point, and I need to allow him to complete because of the facts that I know, right?
Mr. Speaker, I was in fact about to move on. I was simply going to make the point, sir. All that I was going to say, suffice it to say, that it was the APNU AFC who were in government at the time that the Berbice River bauxite operations were closed down and people were put out of work. That is all that. Now I understand that that is a government that said government is not responsible for creating jobs. So I can understand why they probably felt it's not their problem, and if the people are in work or not, it's not their problem. That's a different matter. But all that I was going to say is that at the time that the Berbice River bauxite operations were closed down, it is the APNU AFC that were in government, and who therefore, whether by action or inaction, presided as the incumbent government over a situation that saw nearly 1,000 Guyanese families put out of income. And that is in the bauxite industry, not to mention all that is widely known about the sugar industry. And Mr. Speaker, I could go on for a very long time on various matters. Mr. Speaker, much ado, sir, was made of an IDB report that cites a poverty statistic.
Go to that wall.
Mr. Speaker,
The 58%.
Mr. Speaker, the 58%. Mr. Speaker, the report is unambiguous. On page 41, it has an appendix that is headed up, Appendix, Tables and Figures. And the title of that appendix, it's Appendix Table AOA, Surveys Analyzed by Country, And it lists the countries. And it says, for Guyana, source, Bureau of Statistics. Survey, Labor Force Survey. Years, 2016 to 2018, comma, 2021. For those who need to be reminded, the period 2016 to 2018 fell squarely during the APNU AFC's tenure in government. And 2021 was in the heart of the COVID-19 shutdown. Mr. Speaker, the report is clear, page 41. 2016 to 2018, so that poverty statistic that they were trotting out is an APNU AFC legacy. It's an APNU AFC legacy. It says it here clearly. The report is titled 10 Findings About Poverty in Latin America and the Caribbean. It's published by the IDB as working paper number IDB WP 01644. It's dated November 2024. And on page 41, it says that the survey analyzed for Guyana was the labor force survey for 2016 to 2018 and 2021 when we were in the depths of COVID-19. No. On this, I rarely disagree with my cabinet colleagues. It did not fly over their heads, Honorable Minister Zulfikar Ali. This is a pattern of behavior.
Selective choosing of information and not putting the whole facts.
Selective interpretation. Selective quotation. Chronic and barefaced distortion. This is a pattern of behavior.
Misleading the country.
But guess what, Mr. Speaker? The people, they say in
Mr.
Guyana,
Speaker,
Honorable Member, Mr. Campbell.
I'm forced to stand again because the Honorable Minister said chronic, 40A, sir. He imputed chronic distortion. That would be to everyone, including myself, who would have cited the 58%. That's the latest available evidence that we have on poverty in Guyana. And the reason, sir, that there is not a more up-to-date is because the PPP government did not submit the necessary data for an updated report.
Okay, you stood on a point of order. If you want explanation, I will have to ask permission for the honorable member to take his seat. But I want to rule on the point of order about chronic distortion. I sat for 5 days and hear that we have 58% and 32%. And made out as if that is in existence now. No reference to the data, and I'm happy I'm hearing when the data was pulled from. Go ahead, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And with your permission and approbation, sir, I will repeat that while speaker after speaker on that side repeated that statistic, not one of them chose to turn to page 41 and disclose that the data related to 2016 to 2018 period. Not one of them. And once again, sir, further on this matter, I say not. Mr. Speaker, in addition to that, sir, there is something called basic common sense. Mr. Speaker, this report explains that it is measuring poverty during the APNU period, admittedly. It is measuring poverty against a particular poverty line. Mr. Speaker, that poverty line is defined on page 3. the section called Methods. And in that Methods section, it describes the analytical approach, and it describes the poverty lines that are used in this document. Sir, let me quote from the report. The report says, and I quote, "We use 2 poverty lines for this paper. Rather than constructing new lines, we draw on lines already monitored by the World Bank. For extreme poverty, we use the cutoff of $3.65 per capita per day, which the World Bank defines as the median poverty line for lower middle-income countries. Teteba et al., 2022. I further quote, sir, that moderate poverty refers to individuals living with an income between $3.65 per day and $6.85 per day, where $6.85 per day is defined by the World Bank as the median poverty line for upper middle-income countries." Mr. Speaker, if we take the moderate poverty line of $6.85 per day, let us round that up. My arithmetic is not what it used to be when I was younger. Let us round it up for convenience to $7 per day. And let us use, again, for arithmetic convenience, 200 to 1. $7 per day at 200 to 1 is 1,400 Guyana dollars. Mr. Speaker, I challenge the honorable member to find anybody in Guyana working for 1,400 Guyana dollars per day. I challenge him to find anybody working for or willing to work for 1,400 Guyana dollars per day. Unskilled laborers, sir. Unskilled, and everybody knows this. Everybody in Guyana knows this. That an unskilled laborer
$8,000 a day.
does not come out of his bed and does not leave his yard for less than, Minister Jill says 8,000 Guyana dollars a day. Sir, common sense would tell you, sir, that you can't get nobody is working for that amount of money in Guyana. Nobody. Sir, if the honorable member can find people who are working at that rate and willing to work at that rate, bring them and we will pay them. We will employ them. But Mr. Speaker, it is convenient to continue to repeat the misrepresentation. And it is this convenient and now ingrained habit of misrepresentation. Like I said, could go on and on. We have a labor market survey, sir, that has shown how incomes have risen and how employment has grown and how unemployment has been halved. Sir, and how unemployment has been halved. Sir, Mr. Speaker, that survey is publicly available and many members quoted from it. Mr. Speaker, but it is this chronic habit. It is this chronic habit of selective citation of statistics, whether accurate or otherwise, that has been displayed for a very long time by the APNU, AFC, the PNC, that has resulted now in their complete and abject loss of credibility with the people of Guyana, and that has directly resulted in them being consigned to 12 seats in the backbenches. There is a direct nexus because today, sir, the Guyanese people are much wiser. They are much wiser. They are much, much wiser, sir. With the result, sir, that as others have said before me, those who, for one reason or another, could not, of course, the People's Progressive Party won a very solid majority. But we are a democracy and people are free to choose, and we will always protect and defend that. And there are some who are still not prepared to choose the People's Progressive Party. And we will continue to work to win their hearts and minds, and we will win their hearts and minds. But sir, there are some who were die-hard PNC, and they can't bring themselves to vote for the PPP. But Mr. Speaker, in 2025, they decided that they did not want to have anything to do with the PNC any longer, and they walked away from the PNC. And you saw it, Mr. Speaker, in Linden, you saw it in Georgetown, you saw it in New Amsterdam, and you saw it in villages throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. And the tragic reality, sir, is that they still have not learned their lesson. They still have the same behavior. The same behavior continue. Mr. Speaker, imagine the tens of thousands of those people. It has everything to do with the budget. Because tens of thousands of those people preferred to walk away from the PNC and walk towards a party headed by an individual who is subject to international sanctions. Can you imagine that? They walked away from you. They walked away from you. You love the Lindeners, but the Lindeners discarded you. You love the Lindeners, but you did nothing for the Lindeners, and they discarded you. They discarded you. And they preferred to go and walk away to a brand new political entity headed by an internationally sanctioned individual, rather than vote for the PNC. Well, the PPP won 36 seats. You won 12. The PNC won 36. The PPP won 36 seats. You scrape home with 12. Mr. Speaker, and so, sir, tens of thousands of people, some came to the People's Progressive Party, and the rest of them went to win. That's a reality. That's what happened in Guyana. Associating themselves, and in fact, Mr. Speaker, jeopardizing themselves. Mr. Speaker, jeopardizing themselves, sir. Jeopardizing themselves by associating themselves now with a party headed by a sanctioned individual. Mr. Speaker, and I turn now, sir, to the leader of the opposition. And having listened to the presentation by the leader of the opposition,
Go ahead, Ashley.
having listened to the leader of the opposition,
Having listened to the reading lessons. Now that you finish with me, I That's why we love Annette. Where is Annette? Where is Annette? We love Annette. Bring back Annette.
The leader of the opposition, combined opposition.
That's how chickens behave. That's how chickens behave.
I expected better of you, Honorable Mahipal. Be careful who you follow. Be careful who you follow. Be careful about following the night watchman. Be careful about following the night watchman or the T-baller. Mr. Speaker, I turn now, sir, to the Leader of the Opposition. And, sir, I believe that we really are at a very important point, a very important, almost an inflection point in the political evolution of our country. Because the PNC has evidently been decimated and discarded, consigned to the dustbins of historic irrelevance. Some have come over to us, and others have sought refuge, like I said, by a new political party founded by a sanctioned individual. Mr. Speaker, it is very important, and in doing so, sir, are willing or were willing, knowingly or unwittingly, to jeopardize themselves by this association. Mr. Speaker, I wish, sir, to quote from the U.S. Treasury Department press release issued, sir, on June 11th, 2024, on the matter of the sanctions. That press release said, it started, today the Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, sanctioned members of one of Guyana's wealthiest families, Nazar Mohammed and his son Azruddin Mohammed, their company Mohammed's Enterprise, etc., etc. It goes on to indicate other parties who were sanctioned, including business entities, namely Hadi's World, Team Mohammed's racing team, etc. It details, sir, the offenses committed. And it says, amongst other things, that between 2019 and 2023, Mohammed's Enterprise omitted more than 10,000 kilograms of gold from import and export declarations and avoided paying more than 50 million in duty taxes to the government of Guyana. It goes on further to say that OFAC is designating Azruddin and Mohammed's Enterprise for being persons who have materially assisted, sponsored, or provided financial, material, or technological support for, or goods or services to, or in support of corruption, including the misappropriation of state assets, the expropriation of private assets for personal gain, corruption related to government contracts, or the extraction of natural resources or bribery that is conducted by a foreign person. And it continues. Mr. Speaker, subsequently, our country was regaled with the news of an unsealed United States District Court indictment on the said Azruddin Mohammed. And in that unsealed indictment, it said that the named individual did knowingly, and I quote, did knowingly and with the intent to further the objects of the conspiracy, combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with each other and others, known and unknown to the grand jury, to commit offenses against the United States. That is, to knowingly and with intent to defraud, devise, and intend to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud and to obtain money and property by means of materially false and fraudulent premises, representations, and promises, knowing that the pretenses, representations, and promises were false and fraudulent when made, etc., etc., including in connection with interstate and foreign commerce, and it goes on. Mr. Speaker, it spoke about a conspiracy by the defendants, in quotes, to unlawfully enrich themselves and defraud the government of Guyana in connection with taxes and royalties. It spoke about offenses committed in the United States of America, coordinated with Company One via electronic communications between Guyana and Miami to transport gold sold by Mohammed's enterprise from Guyana to Miami and Dubai via Miami. And in connection with those shipments that the defendants caused payments to Company One from bank accounts in Guyana to the Southern District of Florida. It goes on to speak of Company Two, whom the defendants caused to ship empty wooden boxes, Mr. Speaker, with seals from gold buyers. It goes on, sir, to state that the defendants reused empty boxes with intact GRA and Guyana Gold Board seals
Empty boxes.
for shipments of gold to make it appear that Mohammed's enterprise had paid Guyana taxes and royalties on shipments of gold, when in truth and in fact, Mohammed's enterprise had not paid them on those shipments of gold. It spoke of shipments through Miami with at least 10,000 kilograms of gold, resulting in a loss to the Guyanese authorities of approximately $50 million US. And it spoke of the defendants using those proceeds for their own personal benefit. Mr. Speaker, it goes on, sir, to speak of conspiracy to commit money laundering. And I quote from in or around 2017 and continuing through on or about June 11th, 2024 in Miami-Dade County in the Southern District of Florida and elsewhere. The defendants did knowingly and voluntarily combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with each other and others, known and unknown to the grand jury, to commit offenses, etc., etc., in connection, of course, sir, with the offense of committing money laundering. It spoke of the purpose of the conspiracy. It said that the purpose of the conspiracy by the defendants was to unlawfully enrich themselves by engaging in a scheme to defraud, etc., etc. Mr. Speaker, and I could go on, sir, but this is a document, this document is publicly available. Mr. Speaker, most people in Guyana would read this document and be shocked and horrified. They would want to know if this is a movie they're watching. They would want to know if this is a movie they're watching. Mr. Speaker, but this is not, I mean, these are occurrences and events that are in the minds of most Guyanese unfathomable, unimaginable. Mr. Speaker, I want, sir, of course, as I simply quoted, sir, from a public document, and I will defer. Obviously, the Attorney General has addressed this matter in his own presentation, and he posed some questions to the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, which remain unanswered to date, up to now. And the matter is, of course, engaging the attention of the court system. So I will not, sir, elaborate further on that matter. I have infinite faith in the court system in Guyana, and I have no doubt that the matter will be considered and determined. I wish, sir, because we listened, sir, to a presentation that would ordinarily, I think to most people, appear on the surface to be very convincing. Because we heard the Leader of the Opposition espouse his concern for the ordinary Guyanese citizen, the poor people of Guyana. He presented himself, sir, as a moral authority, as a champion of the vulnerable in Guyana. And if you looked at that presentation on the surface, if you were an outsider, or maybe even a Martian, an outsider to our planet, unfamiliar with what has been going on our planet, and even in our country, I can understand why you might be mesmerized, might be convinced. Maybe not mesmerized. The reading did get a little bit monotonous after a while. But I can understand why some may have been or could be convinced. But of course, Mr. Speaker, you can't have committed these offenses and not be a very sophisticated, even perhaps manipulative individual. You can't have committed these offenses. And, sir, I don't wish, like I said, to pronounce or express judgment or an opinion on this matter. I will defer to the courts of Guyana. But I want to share with the people of Guyana some extracts from an article carried by The Guardian, which is a highly respected, and this article is not about the Leader of the Opposition. It's not about the Leader of the Opposition of Guyana. I want to read this article from The Guardian. The article is headed up, well, it's dated 29th of April 2001, Sunday, I believe, 29th of April 2001. And it, like I said, was published by The Guardian. And it's a two-part article. And that two-part article is called Killing Pablo. Now, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the title, but I'm reading it as it is.
Which one of the Guardians? They got so many Guardian newspapers all over.
Well, it's theguardian.com, sir. It's online as theguardian.com.
Okay.
www.theguardian.com. But it's a story that has been widely documented all over the world. There are books and movies, there are academic papers, there are theses that have been written, theses and dissertations that have been written on this very case. Mr. Speaker, I don't want anybody to nod off, so I don't want to ask anybody to close their eyes as they listen to this story. But I see the Honorable Minister Manichan has her eyes wide open behind her sunglasses. And I'm not going to suggest that anybody closes their eyes, sir. Because this is a matter that is so grave that every single citizen of Guyana
Should hear it.
needs to listen to this story and needs to keep their eyes very, very wide open. Sir, this is what, and like I said, there's a reason why I said I don't want you to close your eyes. You may close your eyes and you may imagine that it is not an individual called Pablo that the story is about. And you may substitute for the name Pablo any name that you believe might fit the story.
I'm going to school today. I'm going to school today. Try that. Let's go. What appropriate answer?
I'm not suggesting any name, sir. Mr. Speaker, in the preface, the prefatory paragraph to the article, the author, Mark Bowden, who incidentally wrote a book on this matter, says, and I quote, Colombian drug baron, playboy, and politician, Pablo Escobar started out as a car thief and became the world's 7th richest man. In the first of 2 extracts from his new book, Mark Bowden explains how the school teacher's son, the son of an innocent school teacher, would let nothing stand in his way, not even the might of the United States government. The teacher's son is Pablo in this story. Sir, the article reads as follows, and I quote again. As his fortune grew and his fame spread, Pablo began tending his public image, conscientiously denying any official connection to his illicit enterprises and working hard to appear likable, although his reputation terrified, even hardened Medellin criminals. Employing leftist rhetoric when it suited his needs, Pablo played upon popular resentment of the established powers in Bogota and the historically hard feelings towards the United States. It goes on, it gets very interesting, sir. It says, surrounded by bodyguards and worshipful associates, he had begun to see himself differently. It wasn't enough anymore to have succeeded on the streets of Medellin or to dominate the international drug trade. Somewhere along the way, Pablo had begun to see himself as a great man. The story goes on. Politics was the next logical step. In 1978, he was elected as a substitute city council member in Medellin. He helped underwrite the presidential campaign of President Betancourt that year, loaning the campaign planes and helicopters, and also contributed liberally to the campaign of Betancourt's rival, Julio Turbay. So, underwriting the campaign, loaning planes, and contributing liberally to the rival as well.
We heard that tonight in the House.
I don't know if that sounds familiar.
Somebody said they supported both sides and as a businessman. Oh, yeah. We heard that tonight.
Mr. Speaker, the story goes on. 2 years later, Pablo backed the formation of a new national political movement movement.
Another movement.
A word, sir, that we heard used with pride right in this honorable house.
Wake up, guys.
2 years later, Pablo backed the formation of a new national political movement, etc., etc. In 1982, he ran for Congress himself. Mr. Speaker, the story goes on. It said, so Pablo became a congressman. He became a congressman. It was just a substitute position. It was just a substitute position. I'm not going to use the word shadow position or position on the other side or whatever you want to call it. I'm quoting faithfully from the article. It was just a substitute position, but the victory seemed precisely the validation he had sought. Mr. Speaker, given the Colombian Constitution, the post conferred automatic judicial immunity. So Pablo could no longer be prosecuted for crimes under Colombian law. That's, of course, Colombian law, not Guyanese law. He was entitled to a diplomatic visa, which he began using that year to take trips with his family to the United States. He paused in front of the White House with his young son
This is his normal story here now, man.
and began enjoying for the first time the mansions he had purchased for himself in Miami. Full stop. Pablo had arrived. Full stop. He told his friends that he intended someday soon to be the president of Colombia.
People probably used to call him president.
The boss.
Actually, it's interesting that you should say that. Because he founded, the story continues, he founded his own newspaper, Medellin Civico. Of course, that predated social media and social media pages. So in those days, he founded his own newspaper, Medellin Civico,
Carries propaganda.
which produced occasional fawning profiles of its benefactor. Yes, I remember him, one Escobar admirer said in its pages, his hands almost priest-like, drawing parabolas of friendship and generosity in the air. The hands drawing parabolas of friendship and generosity in the air. Yes, I know him. His eyes weeping because there is not enough bread for all of the nation's dinner tables. I have watched his tortured feelings when he sees street children, angels without toys, without a present, without a fortune. Pablo sponsored art exhibitions to raise money for charity. He founded Medellin Without Slums, an organization that sought to continue his housing programs for the poor.
Somebody's been studying somebody here.
He took walking tours of city slums with 2 local priests whose friendship implied the blessings of the church.
Quarantine pastors. Babette. Philippi.
At this time, he went to great lengths to erase evidence of his more sordid criminal past while still flaunting it in private. And he undertook an aggressive campaign to be seen as a benevolent, law-abiding citizen. He hired publicists and paid off journalists. I'm reading, Mr. Speaker. I'm reading, sir, from this article. Mr. Speaker, with his election, Pablo became a popular public figure. To an increasingly admiring Bogota press, he became Colombia's own Robin Hood. In April 1983, the magazine Semana profiled him warmly, noting only that the sources of his wealth never ceased to be the object of speculation. Waving his diamond and gold Rolex, admitting to his ownership of a fleet of planes and helicopters, and vast real estate holdings worldwide. In the article, Pablo traced the origin of his estimated $5 billion fortune to a bicycle rental business, which he said he had started in Medellin when he was 16 years old. He went on to say, in quotes, "I dedicated some years to the lottery. Then I got into the business of buying and selling cars. And finally, I ended up in property." End of quote. Mr. Speaker, he and other narco kingpins were, at least for this brief period, popular heroes, the embodiment of cool, as glamorous as they were dangerous in pop culture portrayals, such as the TV program Miami Vice. In real life, Pablo played his role with panache. Mr. Speaker, with panache. Mr. Speaker, Honorable James Bond is smiling with what I believe is familiar recognition. Pablo played his role with panache. Mr. Speaker, by 1984, he was untouchable in Medellin. He moved openly around the city, attending bullfights and nightclubs, throwing parties at his estates, all the while officially a fugitive. Popular and powerful, he had clearly bought off the police and courts there, and anyone who considered standing up against him was marked for assassination. Mr. Speaker, and the story goes on. And it gets more and more gruesome. Mr. Speaker, further down the article, Pablo was usually tipped off well in advance of any effort to arrest him. And he had homes scattered throughout the mountainous Medellin area. And Mr. Speaker, the story continues and tells the gruesome tale, sir, of how this behavior continued and continued until, sir, I can't even bring myself to read all of this article, how gruesome it gets. But I'm seeing some parts here, I think, that need to be mentioned. Mr. Speaker, it says that he had bombed or bribed just about every official in Colombia, But it was so clear that no one in Bogota was going to cut a deal that would jeopardize all important ties with the United States government. So what do you think Pablo then decided to do? Pablo then began trying to work some influence in Washington. He had tried to retain a lobbying firm managed by Henry Kissinger in an effort to influence the Reagan administration. And he retained a lawyer who worked in the same firm as Jeb Bush, son of the president-elect, hoping to eventually persuade the younger Bush to approach his father. Both efforts failed. Mr. Speaker, and this is why I said it became gruesome. No, the Honorable Attorney General is right. There are some gory and gruesome. Mr. Speaker, there are some gruesome and gory details to this story that I am terrified to read. I don't even want to read them. There are some gory and gruesome details to this story. Bomb the plane, carrying civilians. A commercial flight. Bomb the plane, bombed an Avianca commercial flight. Bombed the plane. Bombed a commercial Avianca flight. Gruesome, Mr. Speaker. Killing 110 people on the plane. Mr. Speaker, it was an act of audacious cruelty. And Mr. Speaker, it is these atrocities that would prove ultimately to be fatal mistakes. They made Pablo enemies who were far more powerful than any he had faced before. Downing a commercial airliner was an attack on global civilization. It meant that Pablo now posed a direct threat to American citizens. And it goes on. Mr. Speaker, this is a terrifying story. It's a terrifying story. And it is not my want, sir, to superimpose any parallels, direct or indirect, obvious or obscure, to this story. But I ask all Guyanese people, through you, sir, while keeping your eyes wide open, to close your eyes and ask yourself if this story sounds familiar. If it rings a bell. We, sir, are at an extremely important juncture in our country's history. And, sir, just like in the case of Pablo, tragically, sir, it is the most vulnerable who are being exploited in pursuit of a very narrow personal effort to save oneself. To save oneself. And I felt sad, Mr. Speaker. I felt sad as I sat here and listened to the leader of the opposition speak. Read. Because he too is a young Guyanese person. And I asked myself, how did he end up here? In this situation? And I went beyond, sir. I thought of all of the innocent people who are being seduced, recruited and seduced into this effort, with no thought of consequence for them, with no thought of consequence for them, sir, who are being recruited and seduced with one objective in mind. Mr. Speaker, if the honorable leader of the opposition is innocent, then let the court process proceed and let him prove his innocence, as I'm sure he will endeavor to do. If he could. But tragically, Mr. Speaker, tragically, sir, the leader of the opposition has chosen to ensnare everybody, all the members of his family, innocent, poor people, vulnerable people, recruiting them by whatever means to this quote-unquote political movement, with, one might speculate, the hope that somehow this will protect him. Mr. Speaker, the tale of Pablo is a cautionary tale. It's a cautionary tale. And we have a duty as right-thinking Guyanese citizens, and there are many, the overwhelming majority of Guyanese citizens are right-thinking. We have a duty, Mr. Speaker. It will not happen. The court process will go its way and will continue and will reach its eventual culmination or conclusion. Mr. Speaker, but at some point in time, those innocent people who got disenfranchised with the PNC, didn't feel that they could come with the PPP, ended up over there. Some of them had a grouse, some of them felt they were treated badly, some of them couldn't bring themselves to vote for the PPP, ended up over there. At some point in time, sir, they will be left high and dry. And sir, one of their frontbenchers, a shadow minister no less, in her innocent delusion, said that even when they carry the money was still there. We all recall that statement. That even when they carry I'm not calling any names, sir, said that even when they carry the money was still there. Mr. Speaker, thankfully, the Guyanese people are a lot wiser than to allow ourselves to go too far down this road.
And the education you're giving them tonight is helping.
They may not always be happy with the People's Progressive Party. We may not always get it right. Out of 10 things, we probably do 8 very well. We probably do one reasonably well. And number 10, we probably do not so well. We will not always get it right. But we get the overwhelming majority of things right. And we will continue to spend every single day, Mr. Speaker, not only this week and this month, every day for the next 5 years, to ensure that the people of Guyana see steady and sustainable improvements in their lives, and to ensure that our country does not end up down the abysmal path of becoming captured by Pablo and the likes of Pablo. Mr. Speaker, we commit ourselves to doing that work in order to protect our country and to protect the Guyanese people. There are some who, for the short term, may have been convinced for one reason or another that they would like to be over there But we in the People's Progressive Party have infinite faith in the soundness of the judgment of the Guyanese people. And so I say with the greatest of respect, to the leader of the opposition, and I'm saying this publicly, I say with the greatest of respect to the leader of the opposition, through you, sir, prove your innocence in court, as is your right. Prove your innocence in court. But through you again, sir, I beg of the leader of the opposition, do not ensnare innocent, vulnerable Guyanese people in this effort to save yourself. If you are innocent, you will prove that innocence. But do not ensnare poor, innocent Guyanese people. It is the most, I don't want to use an inappropriate word, sir, but it is an extremely alarming exploitation. We have seen callous in Guyana before, particularly from the PNC. We have seen mercilessness. But this is a particularly callous effort to ensnare and endanger people. To ensnare and endanger people with purely selfish objectives. Purely selfish objectives. So I say, sir, on behalf of this People's Progressive Party civic government, that we are working hard, we are trying to build a modern Guyana, and we spent the whole of the last week speaking about the modern Guyana that we're building. Have we solved every problem already? We haven't. We're working every day to solve problems.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. That is what responsible governments do. And we have been very clear, sir, that the Guyana that we are building is not a Guyana where anybody will have to sit around waiting for a Pablo or a Pedro or whatever you might want to call him to come along to give them a small piece or whatever you want to call them. The Guyana that we are building, sir, is a Guyana where every single Guyanese person will be able to get a good quality education and training so that they can take care of themselves, to be able to get a good quality job so that they can earn for themselves, to be able to become a homeowner on their own so they don't depend on anybody to go and build a house for them and then own them for the rest of their lives, and be able to ensnare them in some inappropriate enterprise. The Guyana that we're building is a Guyana where everybody, every family, having become homeowners, will be able to own their own car, will be able to educate their children, will be able to live more comfortably, and we are seeing that. Mr. Speaker, in every single social indicator, number of students attending high school, number of students passing examinations, access to improved health care, of course, obviously not every problem has been solved in the education sector, the health sector. But nobody can stand up with a straight face and say that the quality of health care and the quality of education they get today is vastly superior to what they benefited from 5 years ago. Nobody can say that with a straight face.
I'm looking for PNC doctor.
Mr. Speaker,
A Spanish speaking one. You gotta speak Spanish.
Mr. Speaker, we have taken the position, whatever your political orientation might be, if you want training to become a doctor or nurse, we train you for free, and you are guaranteed a job when you finish the training. We are increasing the places for medical training so that you can access training in the medical sciences in regions 2 and 6 and elsewhere. We recognize that we need engineers, and we want young boys and girls to become engineers. And we have said, you must not only be able to become an engineer by coming to Turkine campus or to Tain campus. Well, in fact, you couldn't do engineering at Tain campus. We have said, we will now deliver engineering in regions 2, in region 6, and elsewhere, region 3. You can't come to the coast to have access to university education. We will deliver it to your home in your village through the Gold Scholarship Program.
You're doing that.
You can't come to the coast, or you live in the hinterland and you are not well, and it's a small village that doesn't have a big hospital. We will diagnose you using telemedicine. And on the basis of that diagnosis, we will treat you. This, sir, is the Guyana that we're building. You historically never used to get water in your village. We will sink a well and we will build a water distribution system. You historically never used to have access to electricity. We will deliver a solar panel and a household unit if you are too far away from a mini grid. And if you're living in a heavily populated community, we will build a mini grid for you in your community. Mr. Speaker, they came, they trotted out all week and said, well, in fact, the leader of the opposition today said, putting people last. I think he said that with a lot of mirth and amusement.
He wants to be put first.
He's the only one that must come forth.
Sir, to all of the children who will be enjoying improved access to quality education in the more than 100 newly constructed modern schools across the country, and who will benefit from the 40 additional schools that we are building right now, we are putting those children first. Their parents who no longer have to buy textbooks, their teachers who no longer have to worry about buying basic school necessities because we are giving school grants. We are putting those teachers and those parents first. Mr. Speaker, the 14,000 children whose parents no longer have to shoulder the full cost of CSEC and CAPE, we are paying the exam for you. So no child will be told you cannot write 8 subjects because your parents can't afford to pay the fees. And all of us know, Mr. Speaker, of children who in a previous era could not write the number of CSEC subjects that they were able to write simply because their parents could not afford it. All of us know children who could have gone on to do CAPE, but whose parents chose not to. They were brilliant children, capable of going on to CAPE, capable of winning scholarships, doing well at CAPE and winning the scholarships that would come with topping the country at CAPE, but did not go on to write CAPE because their parents could not afford to send them. And we are saying to you, we will pay for the CAPE. We will pay for the CSEC. We will put the textbooks in the schools. We will give you a cash grant. Every single child, $85,000 a month. $85,000 a year, sorry. We will give you the Because We Care cash grant, $85,000 a year. A cash grant, incidentally, which was taken away by the AP and UAFC. We restored it. We have increased it. We have added a transportation grant. And when you add the uniform grant, it comes up to the very respectable sum of $85,000 a year for every single child. So when you say the budget has nothing for anybody, tell that to the parents of those children. And their solution, they can't even figure out what their solution. Some of them say, we will increase the cash grant. Some of them say, 5Bs, bring back the 32 dilapidated buses. Not to mention the fact that we have been distributing, providing buses too in remote communities. Mr. Speaker, in the public health care system, the people who will enjoy world-class care at Lima, Dikendron, Diamond, Enmore, Bath, number 75 Village. Modern hospitals. And there's no denying, if you visit those hospitals, I had the privilege of visiting the number 75 Village Hospital not so long ago. I was in Barbies, as I am frequently. A brand new hospital, staffed by specialist doctors, including highly talented and highly qualified Guyanese doctors. All of those patients who are going to benefit from that world-class health care, sir, they don't count. You have 38,000 who have already benefited. You have hundreds of elective surgeries and emergency surgeries that have been done. The hearing aids that we will distribute, the assistive aids that we will distribute. The more than 90,000 old age pensioners who will receive an increased pension. They're not going to be benefiting from this budget, Mr. Speaker. And so we have listened, Mr. Speaker, and I could go on in every sector, in the farming communities, the sugar workers who will continue to be able to work in the sugar industry as we continue to strive to modernize the industry and make it viable and competitive. They don't count. The rice farmers who will continue to benefit from our extension services and our support with paddy and fertilizer, they don't count. The cash crop farmers who will benefit from the Hope-like canals that we are building to make sure that the risk of flooding is minimized. And we are building those Hope-like canals in regions, in Region 6, in Region 5, and in Region 3. Hope-like canals. They don't count. The farmers who will be planting the 100,000 plus acres of new land that will be opening up for cultivation, they don't count. Well, Mr. Speaker, we count them. And I can assure you, we will continue to put all of those people first. Mr. Speaker, the infrastructure that we're building out, the roads that for so long have been inadequate to handle the rapidly growing traffic. Many speakers on our side of the House made reference to the fact that now in 3 months, we import 10,000 basically, a whole series, 9,999 motor vehicles are imported. Within 3 months, those are Guyanese families becoming owners of their own transportation. And that didn't happen by magic, Mr. Speaker. It didn't happen by magic. It happened, Mr. Speaker, because, very simply, it happened, sir, because more of them are working, more of them are earning, more of them are in a position to go to the bank and take a loan because they now have an income, they now have a demonstrated accumulation of some amount of savings in the bank, they are financially included, they are credit worthy, they have assets that they can pledge, and the banks consider them to be a good credit risk. Mr. Speaker, on that matter alone, I can speak for hours. Sir, if you look, Mr. Speaker, at the manner in which private sector credit has grown, Mr. Speaker, it's important that we understand what is happening. Mr. Speaker, credit by the banking system to households. We have to understand what's going on. This 10,000 cars every quarter didn't happen by magic. The banks don't lend people who are not earning or who don't demonstrate a good credit risk. You have to have a good credit risk because the banks are lending other people's savings. Mr. Speaker, At the end of 2019, or if you want to fast forward even to the end of 2020, it doesn't matter. Either benchmark will give you the same result. At the end of 2020, total credit by the banking system for the purchase of motor cars was $10 billion, $10.4 billion. The year before it was 9.3. Mr. Speaker, at the end of 2025, total credit for the purchase of motor cars is now a whopping $33.3 billion, more than 3 times what it was in 2020. More than 3 times. That is $33 billion have been lent to Guyanese families. Mr. Speaker, let us, sir, process. I know you, of course, are a distinguished economist yourself, so I know you will process these numbers faster than most. Let us process for a moment what has happened with private sector credit just for the purchase of motor vehicles. The banks in Guyana have lent Guyanese households $33 billion, meaning they have found enough Guyanese borrowers who are sufficiently creditworthy, meaning they either had assets that they could pledge and or they had a stream of income that the bank was satisfied will be able to repay the loan, to lend, Mr. Speaker, $33 billion to Guyanese families to buy motor cars. Process that for a minute. The answer, the reason, sir, is very simple. The reason is very simple. More Guyanese people are working, more own their own home, so they can pledge their home or an asset as a collateral. More Guyanese families have a level of disposable income that demonstrates creditworthiness. They are therefore a good credit risk, and the banks have confidence in them. The banks, as you know, are very conservative in Guyana. So imagine even with this conservative posture. Mr. Speaker, this is reflected everywhere. It's reflected in every single sector. It's reflected in every single sector. Mr. Speaker, I could be here for a very long time. I could be here for a very long time, sir. If you look at every category of vehicle registration, Mr. Speaker, if you look at private sector credit and the manner in which private sector credit on the whole has increased, Mr. Speaker, at the end of 2020, total credit by the banking system amounted to 259 billion Guyana dollars, 259.8 billion Guyana dollars at the end of 2019. Hold that number, 259.8. Mr. Speaker, at the end of 2025, that number, which you will recall at the end of 2020 was 259 billion, at the end of 2025, it is $531.8 billion. More than double. More than double. And it went to Guyanese businesses in agriculture, in mining, manufacturing, services, credit to households. Mr. Speaker, credit to households has doubled. At the end of 2019, credit to households was 33.5 billion. It was 34.1 billion at the end of 2020. At the end of 2025, it is $66 billion. These are not, Mr. Speaker, real estate mortgages. At the end of 2020, real estate mortgages amounted to 90.6 billion. At the end of 2025, real estate mortgages amounted to $185 billion. Double in 5 years, double. And what's more, Mr. Speaker, we want to make sure that every single Guyanese who wants to set up a small business, we want them to be able to access credit, access financing for their business. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, our president made an announcement that we will establish an SME development bank This budget includes $100 million US dollars. And Mr. Speaker, we're going to use that money to give small business loans to small entrepreneurs, sir, at zero interest, at zero collateral. We will not ask them to pledge collateral, and we will not charge them any interest. And what is more, sir, is we will work with them to be able to access additional financing with commercial banks, and we will work with them at a concessional rate. And we have already described the mechanism under which that will be done, that they can access up to another $7 million. And Mr. Speaker, our ultimate objective is for them to graduate out of this program and become small and medium-sized entrepreneurs who can stand on their own 2 feet. And so, Mr. Speaker, like I said, I could go on for a very long time, but perhaps I will save some of that for another occasion. I will conclude, sir, very simply. I will conclude, sir, very simply by saying the following. We really are at a truly historic moment in our country's history. In so many ways. In so many ways. And the people of Guyana are demonstrating a greater sophistication in their political judgments than at any other time in our country's history. And we saw this in 2025. And Mr. Speaker, our pledge to all Guyanese is that not a single day will go by over the course of the next 5 years. Not a single day or a single hour will go by over the course of the next 5 years that we, led by our president, will not be working hard to convince every single Guyanese person, those who voted with us and would like to stay with us, and those who for whatever reason did not vote with us. We will spare no effort in working hard to convince you and to demonstrate to you in an even more emphatic fashion than we have done in the past that the People's Progressive Party remains the vastly superior alternative amongst all competing, if I might afford them that courtesy, amongst all competing political alternatives. Our manifesto spells out what we will do. And as my colleagues have said before me, Budget 2026 represents the first installment in the delivery of that manifesto. And the privilege is mine, sir, on behalf of the People's Progressive Party civic government, to thank everyone in this House who contributed to this debate. Not only my colleagues on this side of the House, but in fact, even those on that side of the House. To thank all of them for putting on display, once again, to the Guyanese people, why a vote for the People's Progressive Party Civic is a vote for Guyana and for the Guyanese people. I am privileged, sir, to commend Budget 2020, to join my colleagues in commending Budget 2026 to this Honorable House. And at the appropriate time, sir, with your permission, I will be moving the relevant motions to secure its passage. I thank you very much, sir.